Okay. We had safely run the English blockade, delivered our cargo of wool to Bordeaux, and had been but a day at sea, bound for America, when Charlie set up such an ominous howl from the bow of the ship that we knew a storm must be in the air, and that we must very soon be in the midst of it. The captain had us take in the mainsail at once. We battened down and prepared ourselves as best we could for what was to come. We would have to run before the storm and endure it. The captain said there was nothing else to be done. For 5 days without ceasing we were tossed about the ocean by seas more mountainous than I had ever thought possible. Great green waves bore down upon us 40, 50 foot in height, so powerful that I was sure they must overwhelm us and swallow us entirely. I prayed as I had never prayed before, but still the storm raged on mercilessly and roared about us in its fury. Despite all my most fervent prayers, God, it seemed, had abandoned us utterly. One man was lost overboard, and yet another, Rory Niven, it was, from Dundee, was knocked senseless below deck by the violence of the storm. He died later in his poor wife's arms. Time and again the ship came close to foundering, and more than once I resigned myself to my inevitable and imminent death. Yet throughout this prolonged nightmare, Captain Mackinnon remained a fine example to us all of courage and composure. He sought always to keep our spirits high and kept us ever to our tasks, ensuring us that the Pelican was a sound ship, that not this storm nor any other could sink her, that God in his mercy would surely protect us. So in the end it proved. But when at long last the storm had passed us by and the skies had cleared, the blame for the storm itself and for all that had happened fell at once upon Charlie and upon me. We were all on deck together, having just buried poor Rory at sea, when, outraged at the suffering and tragedy they had had to endure, passengers and crew alike came to the captain in a state of high and mutinous indignation. They demanded that the captain either turn forthwith back to France, where Charlie and I must set ashore, or else they would have no choice but to put us both out in a longboat and cast us adrift on the open ocean, the very thought of which terrified me greatly. The captain listened in silence to all they had to say. Then, in a grave voice, his eyes ablaze with anger, he spoke his mind. "Shame on you, I say," he began. "Shame on all of you. I had until now thought better of you, but I see I was much mistaken. Have we escaped the cruelty of the redcoats only to inflict the very same cruelty on one another? Wolf or no wolf, Charlie is as much God's creature as any of us, and has done none of us harm. I have vowed to bring both him and you safe to America, and this, God willing, I shall accomplish. I have sailed these seas all my life, and I have sailed through many such savage storms. It is not Charlie who brings these storms upon us. Such talk is born of nothing but ignorant superstition and wanton foolishness. It is the wind and the tides, I tell you. It is the elements themselves that conspire with one another to stir the waves into such a fury. No, indeed, I shall not do as you bid me. It is I who am captain of this ship, and I shall not return to France, no matter how you threaten me. And if you dare to abandon them in the longboat, then you must cast me adrift also, for I would rather perish with them than live in the company of such unworthy people. Not one of them dared raise a voice against him. Stung by the fury of his passion, they stole away shamefaced. After that, whether storm tossed or becalmed, I never again heard whisperings against Charlie. No, nor none against me either. With the passing of time, my companions seemed to forget the matter entirely, and warmed to us once more. The children played with Charlie as they had before, and took to howling with him too, so that it sounded sometimes as if we had not one wolf on the boat Pelican, but an entire pack.